Welcome back to Exposing Human Trafficking. I got another interesting question. They asked, didn't you try to run away? Yes! Please go binge watch the channel. You'll see that I ran away, and that's when I really got thrown into human trafficking. You'll see that back in the day, there wasn't anywhere really to go. Okay? There were no human trafficking hotlines. There were no human trafficking advocates, no human trafficking shelters. I don't even think there was a child abuse or battered women's shelter. There wasn't really a homeless shelter. I was isolated. When the human trafficking started real bad, I was taken from my home in Puerto Rico, moved to Florida, where I had no family and I didn't know anybody. I had no friends. I was also threatened. They killed my cat to drive the point home that they would kill me, that they would harm my younger brother and sister, that they would also be raped and trafficked. I went to church, and that was the worst. Because at church, they said I was a whore for doing porn, and that I needed to have my stepfather stop, despite me telling them that they would drug me by putting stuff in my food. And I didn't know that my food was drugged, and when I went to eat or drink something, the drugs got in my body, and then they took advantage of me. They also held knives on me. I called the cops. The cops didn't want to do anything because, according to them, they had to catch the rape and the human trafficking in person or have someone watch it and be a witness. Now, honestly, who does that? At church, they told me I was a whore. I was ostracized. I was made to feel like the odd person out of the youth group. There was a church field trip where we went away to Gatlinburg for the weekend to go skiing. I was uninvited and told not to go if I hadn't already prepaid. They wouldn't have let me go, but since I'd already paid money, I was allowed to go. But during that whole trip, I was treated like crap and ignored. The pastor's wife from the youth ministry made comments in front of the other girls that I was a slut. She hinted at it. Everybody at work knew what was going on. Nobody at work did anything but gossip about it. So yeah, I tried to get out, but it didn't exist. When they came back for me, though, in New Mexico, it was a whole different ballgame because this time there's awareness of human trafficking and they know the tactics. And I was working through the court system in Colorado and New Mexico since I was going back and forth between both states. I got chased across the country. I had to get police escorts to county lines and city limits. And finally, when I got to a place that has very strict human trafficking laws, I finally got protection. And I finally got government protection. But they've still come to me after that. They've sent their flying monkeys. So yeah, don't ever think that victims don't try to get help. Because they do. But people don't listen to them and people don't pay attention to them. And people judge them. And people gossip about them. And people talk shit that they don't know about. And that's why this goes on. So please go binge watch my videos. and see the hell that I've been through before you start asking me, didn't you try to get help? Because that's a slap in the face. So give it a thumbs up, comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit that notification bell and share, share, share. So there's not one more victim of human trafficking. And if you happen to notice a weird situation or know of a weird situation, open your mouth. Call the authorities. Come forward. Don't just sit there. Because a lot of people knew what was going on. I was being molested since the age of 3. And my family, my mom's sisters and husbands knew what was going on, and they did nothing. Because they had confrontations with my stepfather, but he wouldn't do anything. And these people never called Department of Children and Families. They never called the cops. And this is why at 7 years old they were making child porn with me. And those films are still out there. Because people didn't want scandal in the family. They didn't want this to be in the newspapers and in the courtroom. So, this is something that if you know something, you need to come forward. And this is why I'm coming forward. Because nobody came forward for me. And I know they're still doing it. So share this channel, share these videos, and watch from the beginning. Go back to the first video and start watching there all the way up to now. Because this is not an easy life. And the worst part is when the victims get blamed. Didn't you try something? Yes! Why do you think they've tried to kill me? Especially after opening my mouth and naming people. Anyway, I'm sorry if I sound pissed off, but I'm really frustrated to think that somebody would think that I wouldn't do anything when I've opened a channel to do something. And I end my videos with share, share, share so that there's not one more victim of human trafficking. So thank you.